This is recording now. This is a brief tutorial about trimming, how to trim lines. This was a problem a number of you guys were requesting, and a problem that sort of occurred when you prepare laser cutting files. Obviously, when you laser cut something, let's say you want to produce something, we're sharing this screen. So let's say you want to make a sort of a plaque with these two stars. You will probably start with something like this. And you want to get these little triangles also in, so you can make these little connecting points. You need to make these little connecting strips to the outside area. So because if you cut these stars like this, these little triangles would fall out, obviously. So I can perhaps show you how kind of design this one as well. So you would go to here, we've got a little polygon star option. You can select this and make a little star here, a little bit more pointy. We right click it and we do another polygon star. Okay, and now we want to move this thing. I type in move, I grab this one, and then move it. It's obviously done. And I want to move it from here, let's say to here, not quite there. Move it using our little arrows. And we can rotate it also a little bit like this. Yes, that is looking good. Okay, let's put this a little bit on the side because this is basically where I want to get to. So, and if we have like, let's say we want to do a circle, like a little plaque or something, kind of Star Warsy thing, whatever. So you want to cut this out, and that this is cutting through your material. Let's say you have like a black acrylic or something, and you want to, let's move this one a little bit up that we can actually see this. Let's move it over there a little bit, over here. This is good. Now we want to have these triangles and these triangles. No, not this one. Put down, let me hit that then. Also scale this up a little bit. Also just scale it like this. So then it only goes in two directions. If I press the shift, it goes unilaterally. Okay, this is kind of looking better. Okay, anyway, so we want to sort this out, that we have these little triangles here and here, but that the laser is basically cutting these bits off. It doesn't rattle through here, so you want to have these nice flowing lines where the laser literally just kind of cuts along and cuts everything out in one go. Yeah. So how do you trim lines? So that's kind of quite a simple way to do it. So you go to the trim option. That is this symbol. It looks like a board that is being wedged. Yeah. So you can go trim and untrim. So you click onto that. And then you see the option for those who work with Rhino in Windows. I think this will be selected here on the top. So whatever here is selected here or shown on the left in Rhino for Windows will appear on the top. So now we need to select the cutting objects. So we want to select the objects you want to cut with. So imagine this is to be a scissors. You want to keep this one. So you want to keep this and this and this line. So you want to cut with this line, you want to cut these bits off. Yeah. So you click onto this and you press done. And now you get this option, select objects to trim, select, press shift to extend. So we can basically just select these ones, these bits here, and then these bits are falling off. Yeah. And also here, because we don't want the laser to rattle through. We want to keep this spickle here. Now, the problem is the laser, obviously, let's click onto this, so it's done now. We have also a little triangle there, which we can actually remove. Now, we don't want the laser to kind of cut through here. The laser should just kind of run along here. So then, not this is the cutting tool, but this will be the cutting tool. So we right click onto our option, we go trim again. We can again get the select cutting objects. We use this as a cutting object. And we select this as a cutting object because we want this to remain. So we press done. And now we select the object we want to delete. We want to trim. It's this one. And it's, hold on, how does this work? Am I correct? We have these little spickles and these little spickles, and we don't want to have this one. So we need to do that done. So we repeat that, right click, trim. Sometimes you really have to kind of figure out, so we want to have this one, and we want to remove these bits here. So we press done. You can also press enter. And now we remove this. Is this correct? Yes. We also, let's just kind of, you basically do this quite often. So you repeat trim. So I want to keep this triangle here. I want to remove this one and this one. So I select this as a cutting tool. And this one. So, and now I want to delete this one and this one. Yeah, so this is already looking good. Now we have the problem with these with these little triangles. So yeah, they're quite important to. So this is very often the problem. For example, if you, let's say we have an A. Well, let's do an A. Do a big A here. This one. So it's a very small A here. Hold on. Let's make it big. I think some of you had these sort of problems this week with a letter. If you cut this out with a laser cutter, this triangle falls out, and very often you see that you have this sort of a little connecting line. So you can do that like this, just very quick. So I would make a little strip like this. Okay. And I would move it perhaps here, rotate it. Obviously you can do a much better job. So if the laser, if you want to cut out this area with the triangle inside, you can connect it to the outer world. Let's say you want to stick it in the square. Yeah. So that's quite easy. So here again, go to trim. You select this tool here with a sort of broken bar. You go trim. Select the cutting objects. So I want this to remain, but I want this to move out. So we select this one, press done. So we want to have this bit out, and we want to have this bit out, because if the laser cuts through here, we would basically cut this thing off here. So, okay, now press done. So that's still not good. If your laser runs along here, it will still cut this inner piece off. So we need to kind of get these bits off here. So we again select trim, and we select this one and this one as our cutting object, and we select now the objects we wanna trim. So that's this one and this one. Is that correct? Yes. It is sometimes a little bit confusing, but you can also basically imagine this this to be a pool with the A sticking out. This is like a wall that sticks out of the water. Yeah. So the water would run all along here and would run into this channel and fill this triangle. Yeah. So imagine this is sort of filled and raised. Yeah. So that's the way to do it. So with a trimming option, you really need to kind of keep your mind switched on how the laser works through, because I have seen a number of students, they really tried hard to kind of edit their cutting plates, and they were just kind of literally cutting off fingers, the connecting fingers, connecting areas that they wanted to interlock, and so on and so forth. So you just imagine what you cut through and what you want to remain, and this needs to be connected to like the outer area, for example. Yeah, here. So we have the same problem here. So there are all sorts of ways to do this, but let's go an easier route. Yeah, so we can do exactly this one and another one. We right click corner to corner this one. So we want these triangles to connect to this outer area so that they remain. Otherwise, they just fall out. Yeah. Again, we go to our trim option. Okay, we select the cutting object. We first want to remove these bits here. And now we select the areas we want to cut away. So these bits here. This one here. And this one here. And we press done. And now we do this again, repeat trim. And now we select this one, this one, this one, and this one, because we want to cut these bits off. We select this one. And now we select the object to trim. We want to trim this one and this one, and hold on, done. We need to repeat this one, repeat trim. So we select the cutting object. It's this one and this one and this one and this one. Press done, and we trim this one and this one. Here we go. Right. So when our laser cuts through these little triangles remain. So this can be obviously done much neater, narrow, whatever. You can make more connecting corners, or you could, for example, put a little star in that is connected to one of those areas. And so anyway, there's a lot you can do in the design, but you see this sometimes. Also, when you make a spray template, for example, if you want to tag a name somewhere, or if you want to do graffiti and you want to have, you know, a spray template, very often in spray templates you see these sort of simple connecting markers that connect the inner part with the outer part. Sometimes quite useful. If you want to make stencil work, for example. Another thing that I have discussed and is really important is obviously you can lock areas. You just type in the command lock, and then you see the area here that is locked, turning in gray. So whenever I click on it, I try to select this now, nothing happens. If I select this one here, obviously I can select areas. If I press unlock, the whole thing unlocks. Another tip is, at the moment, all these three objects, everything that is in here is in the default layer. So everything is black. Yeah, this is the selected color. And you have various layers with various colors. And this is a very good way, if you have more and more objects in your design, you can separate things in layers, yeah, which is, yeah. What you can do is, at the moment, if you could click on these ones, obviously these are all individual lines. What you can do is, I would always group this one. So you group, you type into your command group. So this is a group now. Whenever I click onto it, the whole area is activated, and that's very often already good enough. Yeah, so you can move these things around. And if you want to edit this one, you ungroup, you type in ungroup again. Yeah. So at the moment, this is not grouped, and I can also select this one. Hold on. And I repeat group. So we have another group here. Yeah, so we can move this around. This is also not grouped, so we can also group this. Right-click, repeat group. Yeah. Okay, if you want to have these objects in different layers, this is very simple. You activate whatever you want to put into groups, and you target, let's say, you want to put this one into layer 1. Yeah. Or let's say I want to put the big A in layer 1. You can double click on the layer 1 and say big A. Yeah. So at the moment, the big A is still, as you can see, it has a black marking. It is, the outline is black. It is still in the default layer. If I highlight this, so I activate the big A, I go to this big cheesecake here in your tools palette. There's this, I always think it looks like a French cheese. It has it's like a French cheese. It has the colors of the tricolor. And if we get all these sort of layer options. So this is the layer option. And one command I use a lot, you could obviously also type it in here, change object to current layer. So my current layer is, as you can see, is tagged blue. My current layer, I have activated the big A layer. The A is still in the default layer. I activate this object. I go and say, change the object to current layer. And you see the color of your object that you have activated and moved to layer A also changes the color. So we have this red that is indicated here. We can do the same. Right click now, change object to current layer, but we want to put it in this layer. So we can do right click, we change it to this layer, and it appears in this violet color. Same is true about this. If we activate this, we go to our blue layer. We again use the command change object to current layer. Yeah. And the nice thing is, if you have a lot of items, you know, in your layer, in your window, you can then also just hide these ones by clicking those lamps. Yeah, I think that's very similar situation. You might know this from Photoshop already. Yeah, very neat. Now, if we go to our force perspective view, you can sort of see all these cutting files are on the same 0 layer plane. Yeah. So at the moment, everything here is in the Z-axis 0. So it basically lies flat on the floor. Yeah. Imagine you have this thing and it kind of falls on the floor. The floor is the 0 layer. Yeah. So we can go to our, let's say, to our A, and you want to raise it slightly. Let's say to 100 millimeter, and we apply it. Always important to apply it. You can sort of see when you move, this is actually moving upwards. Yeah. And we can also select this one. We can also go in a negative direction. We can go minus 100, apply. And you can sort of see, if we go into a perspective view, that your objects now appear in 3 different layers. Yeah. So this is quite useful, for example, if you, I think in the Monday class, in the woodworking class, I did a sort of a laser cutting exercise with this little lion head. And if you want to work with various layers on top of each other and simulate how they actually look in space. So at the moment, it's very difficult to sort of see how this might look in space. But if you go to your perspective view, you can actually see that they're overlapping and how this might look in real life. If you do this with surfaces, for example, you could simulate, you know, a house where you look through various windows and doors and door frames and so on. Yeah. So this is kind of already then moving into a third dimension. Yeah. Okay, I think that should be it for now. So this is trimming and working in layers. Yeah. Again, we go to our panels box. I prefer to work a lot with these ones. Again, you can click the lamps to show or unshow areas. And also you have this little padlock where you can actually lock areas. Yeah. So we can lock everything here. And then I can't, hold on, this is still not locked. Then everything is locked. I can't activate anything anymore. So you unlock it and you can move. If you have then a mess of everything here, and then it's actually quite useful to select, okay, I only want to have the object in layer 2. I grab this and move it away, and I grab this one, layer A, move it here. I can show everything, you know. So this is a nice way to move objects around, organize things.